Es ist gefährlich.
Excuse me, officer. I was wondering if you could help me?
What do you want?
I seem to have gotten all turned around. Do you have any idea how to get to the front gate?
My suggestion would be to turn around and head back the way you came.
Yes, I've tried that, but I seem to just be going in circles. Perhaps you could point me in the right direction?
Stop right there. That's quite enough from you.
I beg your pardon?
Don't think I can't tell what your game is. You're trying to lure me away from here and into some alley where your gang of Sambos is gonna rob me blind.
Rassist, ich hab's
Exactly
geahnt.
how many of them have you got lying in wait for poor, unsuspecting fools you bring them?
Just one. And he doesn't appreciate you talking to his wife that way.
You know, Miles, sometimes I forget how absolutely delightful it is to watch you lose your head.
Miles, was that really necessary?
I'm sorry, Addie. You know how I get with people whose minds are full of that rubbish.
Let's just get him out of sight before this lands both of us in jail. That bush over there should work. I have to say, I wasn't expecting assaulting a policeman to be on today's activity list.
It'll be fine. When you're on the force as long as I was, you can pretty much get away with murder.
Well, it's been fun, but I need to take my wiles and charm over to my appointment with Mrs. Lefebvre. I'll see you at home later, dear. Try to stay out of trouble.
Oh, sie ist angefressen. Ich hoffe, das könnte eine falsche Entscheidung gewesen sein, aber ich wüsste nicht, wie wir ansonsten hätten fragen. Seht ihr? Ich mag auf jeden Fall diese Perspektive, das ist cool. So durch ein Loch in der Wand.
That nest is full of eggs. But where's the mother bird?
Perhaps she abandoned it.
Always assuming the worst, aren't you, Miles? What a dramatic statue. I'm rather surprised no one has defaced it. Hang on. You don't suppose this is... Surprise, surprise! A hidden compartment with a stash of pills inside. Seems Mr. Montgomery has a little business on the side.
Douglas Chesterton, 1791 to 1840. Good riddance.
This must be what was going to be Madame Dupre's final resting place.
Ja, danach haben sie
I don't
aber
see
echt keinen
anything
Platz mehr.
inside.
What? Were you expecting a note from her attacker?
No, but I was hoping for some kind of clue at the very least.
These crypts are reserved for future generations of Chestertons to rot in.
There are only
steht da
3
unter.
left.
Then let's hope the Chestertons aren't opposed to spending eternity cozied up to one another.
Ich wollte eigentlich die Blume mir anschauen.
Desmond Chesterton, 1745 to 1810. Strong in life, stronger in death. John Patrick Chesterton, 1740 to 1825. Patriarch, leader, family man. Jane Scott Chesterton, 1746 to 1815. Ab Eterno. Celine, 1823 to 1844. Taken too soon, rest ye with the angels. Sarah Chesterton, 1784 to 1812. I told you I was sick. Dale Chesterton, 1795 to 1843. A good man. Rest in peace.
Ja, Grabsteinsprüche, die immer wenigstens nett sind, bis auf der, mit dem
I have to
Antonio
admit,
was sick.
it's a fairly ingenious hiding spot. That nest is
Perhaps she abandoned.
always...
Gut, dann gehen wir doch mal raus hier. Und am besten auch direkt gleich vom Friedhof runter. Wir hätten die Pillen. Wir könnten mal mit der werten Tochter sprechen. Mit Juliet. Was ihre Blumen da zu bedeuten haben. Ich hoffe, wir verraten uns da nicht zu früh.
Those flowers are...
Mal schauen.
Hello again, Miss Montgomery. Mind answering a few more questions?
Hello, Mr. Fordham. Not at all.
Das wird jetzt nämlich ziemlich privat.
What can you tell me about your brother?
Andrew, Mama's precious little boy. If you've met him, you pretty much know all you need to. He's had the whole world handed to him on a silver platter. But he's in for a rude awakening someday. Mother can only provide for him for so long.
Do you know anything about ethericity, Miss Montgomery?
You surprised me, Mr. Fordham. I had no idea someone of your profession would know or care about something like that.
I've found that it pays to be open-minded.
To answer your question, yes, I am familiar with the theory of ethericity. In fact, it's recently become a focus of my studies. Despite what the newspapers have been reporting, it's already possible to access it in small quantities from the air around us.
Have you conducted any experiments?
No, my research has been purely theoretical. I don't have the means to do anything practical, I'm afraid.
Deceiver, dissembler, her trousers are alight. I can't understand why Juliet might not want to make her research public, though.
Miss Montgomery, please don't lie to me. I know you've been conducting experiments with ethericity. I've seen the room you're renting on Forest Lane.
What? But how?
I wouldn't be very good at my job if I didn't find things out, Miss Montgomery. Now please, drop the act and tell me about your experiments.
Fine. I've been researching etheric effects on living organisms. I'm planning on presenting my discoveries to the board once I make more progress. So far, I've managed to discover that plant growth is accelerated significantly. It's given me quite the advantage in class.
But isn't that cheating?
You have no idea how difficult it's been for me to be taken seriously, Mr. Fordham. No matter how hard I tried, my work wasn't valued on its own merits by my peers or professors. I fought hard to get where I am. I wasn't about to lose all that just because some pig-headed idiots didn't think my best was good enough.
That sounds awfully familiar.
What about your notes on the effects of ethericity on animals?
Oh, those aren't complete. I haven't tested the effects on anything larger than flies. Those experiments were mainly to satisfy my curiosity, but they have little to do with my actual research.
Curiosity? Seems like a lot of effort to go to just to answer a question. But then, I never really understood these scientific types.
No more questions for now.
Then if you don't mind, I have work to do.
Okay. Ich denke mal, wir haben hier keine offensichtliche Lüge präsentiert. In ihre Wohnung können wir interessanterweise nicht mehr. Die ist jetzt off limits, auch interessant. Ich habe das Chested in Tomb schon untersucht. Tomb, whatever.
I have some questions for you.
Oh.
You'll never believe what I found in your family's tomb.
Oh? Was it a ghost?
No, it was these vigor pills. You wouldn't happen to know how they got there, would you?
I see you really are good at your job, aren't you, Mr. Fordham?
Look, Andrew, I'm in no mood for games. I'm willing to overlook your unlawful activities in exchange for your cooperation.
Fine, but you have to understand, I'm not exactly feeling myself right now.
I understand perfectly, which is why I need you to take one of these pills.
I suppose one would help. Thank you.
Hat er nicht gesagt, es könnte Erfolg auch sein?
My goodness, I always forget how fast those pills work. My heart is racing.
Oh,
You said
shit.
you had questions, didn't you? Well, go on, ask them already. We mustn't waste any more time.
Well, that seems to have done the trick. I just hope we haven't doomed him to a heart attack.
Ich auch. Fuck.
What can you tell me about Madame Dupré?
I can't believe anyone would be so cruel as to do what that wretched bastard Martin did to her. Mother is kind and generous, and everyone loves her. She's even good enough to hire actual people to do the housework. Not many wealthy families do that, you know. They just use automated machines or hire servants to operate the manual ones.
What exactly were the circumstances leading up to your mother's supposed death?
A few days ago, I arrived home from school and found her collapsed on the floor. She wasn't breathing, so I immediately contacted Dr. Fellows. He examined her and pronounced her dead. We were all completely shocked. I was devastated. She'd been in fine health. In fact, she'd just been out riding that morning. You can imagine our surprise at the funeral when she sprang back to life.
redet sich in seine kleine Rage hinein. Ich weiß nicht, ob es gut ist, Juliet zu erwähnen.
That's a rather exotic bird you've got.
Yes, Ray is nice when he's quiet. But get him started and it's tough to shut him up.
Who trained him?
I think he already knew some phrases when Mother bought him. She's managed to teach him a few new ones, though.
How do you typically spend your days, Mr. Montgomery? What are your interests?
I study pharmacology at the university. I'll be graduating next year if all goes well. I just hope Mother has recovered enough by then to understand what's going on. She and Jean were so proud of me when I started university. I'd be so disappointed if she couldn't see me finish.
I take it Jean is your stepfather.
He is. Mother married him 5 years after my father died of consumption.
My condolences. Do you have a good relationship with him?
Not terribly. Truth is, I hardly ever see him. In fact, before the funeral, I hadn't seen him at all this month.
Where is he now?
I don't know for certain, but it seems likely he's at his hunting cabin.
His hunting cabin?
Yes, he often goes there. It's his way of leaving polite society behind and spending time with his thoughts. Considering what Mother just went through, well, I would guess that's where he's gone. Although, to be honest, I don't know why he's not here with Mother in her time of need.
Why do people run away from their problems instead of facing them? Why, Miles?
Do you know where this cabin is?
Afraid not. I don't share his passions, so I never cared much to accompany him on his outings.
What can you tell me about your sister, Juliet?
Juliet, smart as a whip and just as forgiving. She's a fighter, that one. Despite being the only woman in her class, she's managed to rank at the top.
Impressive.
I only wish Mother was more accepting of Juliet going to university. But you don't want to hear about boring family matters, I'm sure.
Oh, but family matters are my favorite. It's always so reassuring to know how much worse off everyone else is.
What's your relationship with the servants like?
Relationship? I don't have one with them. They're servants. Mother always made it clear that they weren't part of the family, just help. We've only got 2 on staff right now, though, the kitchen girl and the gardener.
How is it you know Albert Martin?
He works at the greenhouse where my sister Juliet does her research. The 2 of them were involved romantically, and Mother didn't like that at all. I heard their fights. They were ghastly.
What exactly made you suspect he was the one responsible for what happened to your mother?
Well, I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? His mother's a notorious voodoo witch. Those people do all sorts of awful things to our kind. It's all out of spite, you know. He knew Mother disapproved of his relationship with Juliet, so he plotted to get rid of her.
So, you're running some kind of pill business on the side?
I'm providing a service, Mr. Fordham. Not everyone in this life is as lucky as I am. People pay top crown for luxuries like airship tickets and social club memberships. Medicine should be affordable to all. Dr. Tennyson has a patent on the energy pill formula and thus a monopoly on the market. That means he can charge whatever he wants. Students use these kinds of pills all the time, you know. Academic rigors can be overwhelming, and concentrating can be difficult without help sometimes. I've got the skills and the equipment. If I can replicate the formula, help my fellow students, and sell them at a much more reasonable price, why shouldn't I?
There's the fact that what you're doing is illegal.
Oh, you're starting to sound just like Mother. And just because it's illegal doesn't mean it's immoral. I can think of plenty of examples where the opposite is true.
You're probably the most altruistic person I've met all month.
The sad part is it's true.
Thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
Ich hoffe, bleibt am Leben.
Amelie?
Yes? What is it? We mustn't be seen talking.
Anything you can tell me about John?
I hardly ever see him. Only at dinner. He's scared of Madam, and so he finds any reason to get out of the house and stay away as long as he can.
Scared of her?
Oh, it's true. You should see him when they're in private, like a shamed puppy that dirtied the carpet.
Interesting.
Do you have any idea why Jean is so afraid of Madame Dupre?
If he's seen the same things we have, then yes.
What kind of things?
No, I spoke out of turn. Forget I said anything.
Amelie, listen to me. A potentially innocent man's life is on the line. If I don't find out who attacked Madame Dupre, he's as good as dead. So if there are any facts or details you know that I don't, you need to tell me.
I can't.
You can. I'm not with the police. If Madame Dupre did something wrong, I'm not going to look the other way. Trust me, I'm on your side.
Madam beats the servants. I think she even does it for fun. I hear the screams sometimes. I don't know how anyone else in the family doesn't. Maybe they do and just ignore it. I don't know. But if Mr. Dupre knows what she do, it explains why he's so scared of her.
Okay.
Did Madame Dupre ever abuse you?
No, I was lucky, but some of the others weren't.
Like who? I need details, Amelie.
The old gardener, Guy Dumas, and one of the maids, Celine. I saw Madame going after them the most. Don't know what they did to deserve it, but I would see her walk by in a rage, whip in one hand and a book in the other.
A book? What book?
Oh, I don't know. I can't read, so I don't know what it said on the cover. But it's the same color as the stew spice I always use. Don't know what she used it for, but she always had it with her, just before a beating.
Maybe she'd recite them some of her terrible poetry. I'm sure that was torture enough.
Okay.
Tell me more about Guy and Celine.
They were deeply in love with each other. I used to hear them talk about how they wanted to run away together.
What happened to them?
I don't know. One day they were here, and then one day they weren't.
Do you think Madame Dupre may have done something to them?
I couldn't say for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if she had. Please, let's not talk about this anymore.
Thank you, Amelie. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Now please, let me get back to work.
Yeah, it looks like gumbo's on the menu tonight. I wonder how it compares with Upton's special recipe.
Okay. Farbe des Buches ist wie die ihres Gewürzes, ja. Choice and Consequences, ja.
Well, this should be the book Amelie mentioned.